Hey Gearheads, and welcome to Garage Talk. I'm Corey, and this is the 2023 710 horsepower class action lawsuit inducing Hellcat Durango. And in this video, I'm going to tell you if it's worth all that, what it's like to live with day in and day out, and take you on a quick drive. Stay tuned. Yes, Gearheads, this $107,000 three-row SUV caused quite the stir when it was brought back for the 2023 model year. What was supposed to be a one-year-only special edition turned out to be, well, something that Dodge felt they could make more money off of down the line. When this was introduced, this was the most powerful all-wheel drive Hellcat vehicle you could get, edging out the Ram TRX by a measly 8 horsepower. And I guess that brings us to talking about exactly what is underneath the hood of this one, because it's quite special. This very sculpted hood, might I add. This is the 6.2 liter supercharged HEMI V8 that is definitely going away one model at a time. As I am recording this, the last Dodge Challenger and Dodge Chargers have rolled off the line. So for 2024, I do believe the Durango is the only vehicle that still offers this engine under the hood. It makes a whopping 710 horsepower and an very acceptable but fairly low number, 645 pound-feet of torque. And let me tell you, the displacement of this supercharger alone is more than the displacement of my daily driver. It's like 2.3 liters, something massive, and she absolutely screams when you open up the taps. I really do like the fact that the hood is supported by a prop rod. It must be a light hood because it is a sole hydraulic prop rod. And then you can see we actually have functional heat extractors on the hood itself and a functional nose intake right up there. It doesn't feed to anything in particular, but it definitely lets the cool air in and help keep that supercharger and big HEMI engine cool. I believe it just kind of helps funnel the cold air around before escaping out those two massive heat extractor ports on the hood. Closing the hood, you can see how sculpted this hood really is. It isn't just like Dodge put a couple holes in the hood and called it a day. There's actually some architectural design on the hood that goes around those heat extractors and that big nostril up front. Taking a look at this one, I typically do not like silver vehicles, but I will say the racing stripes on our model definitely make up for the fact that this is a silver Hellcat. And I don't know, let me know down in the comments what you think. Do racing stripes on a three-row SUV come off as pretentious, or are they befitting of something with a powertrain as loud as this Hellcat? We have LED headlights, turn lights, running lights, all the things. No fog lights in this, but you can see we've got a lot of ducting up here for aerodynamics and for cooling that big engine. So we've got the top grille and lower grille all feeding the radiators. And then you can see in here, these are not fake openings. I can actually see in, and that ducts air in and around the front of the vehicle. We do have a little bit of a chin spoiler up front, chin splitter up front for a little bit of extra aerodynamics, but let's face it, this is still a big three-row SUV. There's only so much you can do to work against physics on this one. Coming around to this 3/4 angle, everything in front of the A-pillar, in front of the front doors, is really the only thing that makes this specifically special to a Hellcat. You may notice the big wheels and tires on this one and know something is special about it, but really they haven't done a lot of crazy body work on this vehicle to really call out that it's anything special outside of the hood, the front bumper, and these Hellcat badges on the side. They really let the engine do all of the talking on this one, and we'll get into that here in just a moment. You can see on our model, we've got these 20-inch SRT branded 5-spoke, 10-spoke, however you want to classify it, wheels with these red SRT Brembo brakes back behind them. They are wrapped in 295/45 ZR20 Pirelli P0 performance tires, summer tires. And they do a good job of maintaining traction when that beast is trying to absolutely claw them to death. Again, we'll talk more about that when we're driving. As we get to the side profile here, it really is nothing all that special. And again, being painted in silver, we can't see the racing stripes. We really can't see much from this perspective that really makes it feel all that special outside of those bright red brake calipers poking out behind those SRT branded wheels. Coming back to the back, we do get a little bit of a lip spoiler back here, but not much of one to really emphasize the fact that this is a Hellcat powered beast. When you look at what Ram did with the 1500 TRX, they gave it a wider stance and those massive fenders, and it rode on a much bigger wheel and tire package. This really feels almost like a typical Dodge Durango. There isn't all that much special about it from most angles. Coming around back here to the back, you can see we've got LED brake lights, turn signals, and if I had the vehicle running, we would get that signature Dodge outline on the taillights here. I'll put some B-roll over to show you there. But we get our SRT Hellcat badge to let everyone know behind you before you leave them in the dust. Yeah, you've got the Hellcat. It is all-wheel drive all the time, which does take away some of the fun. And then as we come down here, we've got those big exhaust tips that make a wonderful noise. And we do have this little bump out right here on the rear bumper because this one does have the tow package and can do a fair amount of towing. We have a power operated hatch back here with a handle right there for actuating the power opening, but I will say it opens kind of shallowly. I'm 5'10" and I can stand straight upright and touch my head on the opening. It does push open just a little bit more, but it is really not that wide of an opening. It's kind of interesting in a platform such as this that has been popular for so many years. This platform is going on 13 years as we record this one right now. So yeah, we get a fair amount of storage behind the 50-50 split third row seat right here. You can see there's my backpack for reference. I'll go ahead and move that out of the way because I do have a false load floor here with a little bit of extra storage here, big enough for said backpack. See, that is where the jack is stored for fixing a flat. The spare tire is actually underneath here, and you would release it right here, but we do not have a spare tire on our model. There is just a big, massive hole underneath the vehicle there, almost acting as an air brake down below the vehicle. Folding the seats down is really easy. From these latches, you can just flip and fold them. They aren't power fold. I almost prefer it. Sometimes power fold seats just take too much time to fold, and this really is where we would keep them for our family most of the time, giving you quite a bit of cargo space back here. You can see we do have some red seat belts in our model. We do get a little bit of power back here, so you can power some things if you are tailgating in your massively powerful Hellcat powered Durango. But I'm gonna go ahead, pull these seats back up because you know I'm gonna climb in that third row here in just a little bit. So get those prepped for when we are inside. And one last thing I want to call out while we are back here, being an FCA Stellantis product, especially being one that is so old, this is the same button in the same placement as in my wife's 2014 Jeep Cherokee. This is how you close the hatch of the vehicle. Works really well for us with her being 5 foot. It gives you a few beeps to let you know it's about to come down, and then closes nicely and softly. Before we get in this one, I did want to show you the key. It is, for the most part, your typical Dodge key. It's the same housing and body as what we have for our Jeep, but it is red and it has the SRT Hellcat logo here on this side. The significance of it being red means the vehicle knows I've got the Go Fast key. They do offer a black key that goes with this that you would hand off to your kids if you're letting them drive it, or the valet if you're going to take it to valet. It doesn't give you the full 710 horsepower as this one, but you can see we get lock, unlock, hatch release, remote start, and a panic button. I'm gonna go ahead, come around back here to the back and give you a listen as we do the remote start, because this thing, that just sounds so good. That's what $107,000 and 710 horsepower sounds like. I will go ahead and point out we do have active or passive entry here. You just put your hand on the back of the door, that unlocks it. You can lock it by pushing that button. It is only on the front two doors, not on the back doors. So just something to note, if you got to load a kid in, you're going to be touching the front door before loading the kids in the back doors. Opening up the front doors, a lot of parts bin sharing pieces in here. These are the same buttons out of the Chrysler Pacifica that we have tested for the two-person memory seats. These are the same window switches and everything from our Jeep Cherokee. Everything exactly from our Jeep Cherokee right here. We have express up down for the front, but not the back windows. What is unique to this vehicle and to this exact vehicle is the impacted carbon fiber accents on this. No two vehicles have the same pattern or design, which is pretty cool. We do get a little extra storage down here in the door. We get our Harman Kardon sound system right here, a supercharged sill plate right here, and then coming to the seats, multi-positional with four-way lumbar. So that is a nice touch. These seats are part of the $10,000 option package. The Laguna Red seats here, they are racing buckets with a design that has been in the Dodge family for quite some time. We've seen it in Chargers and Challengers. I really like that you get SRT not only on these front seats, but we'll go ahead and peek back there at the middle row of seats as well. The leather itself is actually very soft for something that has such sporty intentions. I'm gonna go ahead and get out of this cold wind. My goodness, the temperature isn't so bad. You can see it's 46 degrees, but whew, it's the wind that actually gets you. And go ahead and actually start the vehicle up by putting my foot on the brake and pushing the red start button right here. You can see the red in the vehicle is really more of a deep red, maybe an OU red for those of you in the South, or maybe a Arkansas Razorback red. Not a full-on red and not dark enough to be maroon either, but we'll get a full red engine start stop button right there. We'll go ahead and start over my left knee and work our way across. Again, same controls here from our Jeep Cherokee. I only bring that up because this feels so familiar to us. The brand moving forward is changing up their switchgear and going to a new design overall, which I don't love or hate. It's just, this feels very familiar to us. And our Jeep Cherokee was also quite a bit cheaper than this vehicle. So I guess there are a few reasons why I'm pointing out the parts sharing across the board on this vehicle. The steering wheel is very reminiscent of many other Stellantis products. All the buttons are in the same place and do all the same things. We can control the screen right there. We've got our radar adaptive cruise and our non-radar adaptive cruise controls button right there, our phone buttons. And then it is a very thickly bolstered, perforated leather wrapped here on the sides. Steering wheel, it is heated, which is a nice touch. It is power tilt and telescope, which is also a nice touch, but I'm not quite sure why it has such big, hefty grips down here that are even bigger than the 10 and 2 grips. Like, these are some massive grips. Do you drive like this or like this? I don't know, it just seems a little strange to me. And then this SRT logo actually is illuminated in red. It'll glow around the sides in red. I'll have to put an image of that up. And then we get your analog and digital gauge cluster. So over here on the sides, these are analog readouts on the sides, a 200 mile per hour speedometer, which this car isn't doing 200 miles an hour, and almost makes it illegible in easygoing traffic. You really had to kind of look at it because this needle kind of covers up the numbers. It's not my favorite. I do find myself using the digital number here more than anything else. This $107,000 vehicle also doesn't have a head-up display, so that's something to note there. You can page through a lot of different screens here and see a lot of different information, including some race timers here, so you can see exactly what your time is, your braking distance, all kinds of G meters, and different racing metrics that you may want to see, because oh boy, somebody has had some fun in this, getting it up to 107 miles per hour top speed. But yeah, 0 to 60 timer, we will definitely have to check that out here in a little bit. But you get all your driver's assist and your fuel economy. You can see she is rather thirsty and has been on our trip. We've put nearly 200 miles on it, just over 11 mpg in all sorts of driving conditions, but lots of stuff you can page through here. I'm just going to go ahead and put it back on the speed readout for right now, because that's where I like to keep it most of the time. Coming over here, we come to the Uconnect system. It is fairly quick and responsive. We've had some hiccups with it that I've seen in other Uconnect products that I've just kind of written off, but I've seen it too many times, too frequently. This is a wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto system, but I've had to unpair and repair to really get the wireless to work consistently. And even then, I've had to reset the radio a couple times, not reset it, but restart it by going in here to vehicle, into settings. The fact that I even know where this is slightly upsetting. And then you can do a reset and restart your radio. The fact that I know that is there just goes to tell you, in the various Uconnect systems that I've been in, I've had to do that enough. There are some gremlins in the Uconnect system. They need to work it out. I will go ahead and talk about the rear camera on this. We don't get 360 cameras. Again, this vehicle costs $107,000 as this one is equipped. And you only get this very grainy rear view camera that is mandated by the government. Again, not my favorite, but it does give you a fairly clear view, albeit a bit grainy. What it also does, and you can turn this off, is it points your rear view mirrors like down to the ground. Let's see, this is my eye line. I am looking at the ground. That works very well trying to get into a parking spot. But when you're just trying to avoid things around you, when you're backing up, you're going to be relying more on this than your actual rear view mirrors, just because of how much those turn down. You'll see just how much that one moves as I sit here. It's still going, y'all. There we go. That's where I have it set normally. Otherwise, it points way down. I do like the redundant controls down here for your heated and ventilated seats and all your HVAC controls, which can be controlled from the Uconnect screen here. But as you saw earlier, when you put it in reverse, all that is gone. So as I've learned in our Jeep Cherokee, you have to take it out of reverse to do any of the functions that are afforded to you here with the redundant controls. So I really like that a lot. 3-zone HVAC, so we've got dual zone up front here, and then a 3rd zone in the back. We've got a lot of fun buttons down here, including SRT, which takes you into all of your different drive modes. You can even customize one. It's got an eco mode, and yes, that 11.1 mpg has come driving it in eco more often than not, which really doesn't change a whole lot because it's just your transmission shift points. You can see sport turns everything to sport. Track turns everything to track and turns off your traction control. So this one really is the all-out performance version, and can be a lot of fun. Again, we'll get into that here in a little bit, but you can see everything that changes for those. What is interesting to me is there are no changes to the exhaust note. This thing is always loud. If you're trying to leave the house before the family wakes up, say they're on a Christmas vacation and you have to go work, yeah, you're not sneaking out of the house. The whole neighborhood will hear you fire this thing up and leave. Just something I may or may have not learned the hard way. words. But yes, SRT button right there, launch control button right here. Everything that you need to do will be displayed up here. They'll tell you exactly what you need to do there. We'll get more into that later. Parking buttons, traction buttons, hazard button, all that right here. Very nice. It is shiny black plastic, but I'll ignore it here. It's not that bad. Get a Qi wireless charger right here. That does take up a lot of your storage space up here. Feel like that was an afterthought. Again, this platform is 13 years old. So really 14 years old for the 2024 model year. So that is definitely an afterthought. And you get a little rubberized storage down here. A couple cup holders with rubber grippers. I guess they want you to keep the key right there. I do really like this shifter for the 8-speed Torqueflite automatic transmission. It does have a manual mode, and it keeps you in manual mode for these real metal paddle shifters when you are going down the road. So that is a nice touch, but we're going to go ahead and put that back. And then, like many products from Stellantis of the time, we get a dual level center console here. So I really like, you've got this felt line section you can put some items in, and then you got a deeper center console here, also felt lined. While we're talking about storage, you get a decent sized glove box here. It is damped and lined with felt, so those are nice touches. More leather across the dash, more carbon fiber here, carbon fiber there, carbon fiber down here, more leather, leather, leather. Very nice, but I don't know if it merits the $10,000 upcharge that these seats and all these accents actually bring. Let me know down in the comments if you think it is worth all of that. Moving up, we get a regular standard sized sunroof in this one, nothing big or major, and a manually opening shade. I kind of like it. You can open it very quickly. I've got plenty of headroom up here at 5'10". I'm comfortable up here, no complaints whatsoever. Plenty of room. Let's see what it's like getting behind myself now in the second row. See how much room is in there. As we move here, you can see we get more carbon fiber on the doors back here, so that's a nice touch, but no window shades on the doors back here, so that's a little bit of a knock. We'll talk about the seats and how you access the third row here in a second, but you can see we get the same red leather back here. Again, it's very nice and soft. We get the same SRT embroidery here. These headrests only fold forward, they do not go up and down, which is a slight knock for this class. Coming in here, we do have map pockets, map nets on the backs of both seats. They are hard plastic. You get a couple bag hooks for if you want to put your groceries back here. I'm telling you this before I come inside because it is going to get a little bit darker in here. We get air vents back on the back of the center console, and you can direct that towards your feet as well. Heated outboard seats, 2 USB-A ports, and a household style plug back here, 115 volt, 150 watt plug back here, and a full center console with a couple cup holders, place to rest your phone, and again, that same dual level opening action back here with some more USB and cigarette lighter style power back here. In the felt lined center console, and you also get a little map net or mesh net, so if you want to put your phone or an iPad, something in there, you absolutely can. A huge win for us here on the channel. I told you we have 3-zone climate control, so your climate controls are in the middle, which is a nice touch. I know that takes away from a panoramic roof, but again, this vehicle is almost too old for that, and it allows you to access the controls from either seat back here. But you also get ceiling mounted vents over the second and third row of seats. So that is a very nice touch. Coming to me, plenty of headroom back here. Again, we don't have a sunroof or anything really cutting into my headroom back here. So I've got more headroom back here than I did up front. These seats are relatively comfortable as well, but they aren't quite as heavily bolstered as these front seats are up here. I would hate to ride at any sort of speed in a corner back here versus up there. That's just the people I know that would be driving me around in this. But let's talk about the third row of seats. Unfortunately, these are not child seat friendly second row seats. So to get in the back, you pull up on that lever once and then twice, or you can pull on this actual red. You can see just the color difference. latch right here, and that tips and tumbles that forward, much like Chevy Tahoes and Suburbans. You have that tilt and tumble feature. And now you can see we have a 50-50 split bench, third row of seats. We'll go ahead and climb back here. Again, fairly nice seating material, rather soft. The seating position, I'm definitely up higher, not much room above my head back here, but I can ride back here fairly comfortably. I'm gonna go ahead and scoot behind Tucker's seat. He's got a little bit of a recline to his seat to match his child safety seat. Yeah, it is very comfortable back here. I've got the air vent right up above me. I've got some warm air coming out on my ankle. I can feel it right now on this chilly winter day. This is a comfortable third row for adults, definitely a plus, and really brings me to why I'm so confused about the Durango for 2023 and 2024. This vehicle, again, 13, 14-year-old platform, used to share a platform with the Jeep Grand Cherokee. This is riding on the old Jeep Grand Cherokee platform. There is a new Jeep Grand Cherokee out. There is a 3-row Jeep Grand Cherokee out, and there aren't any new Dodge Durangos. There aren't even rumors of new Dodge Durangos. In fact, many people are speculating they're going away. It was a surprise when we found out 2024 was going to be more of the same. So I'm not quite sure what Dodge is doing. They've killed off Charger and Challenger as of this recording. They are no longer being produced. The Hornet is here, but it's seeing a lot of kind of quality issues as it's going down the road. We really like the one we tested, but we only had it for a week. And then you've got this. So Durango and Hornet are really your only two vehicles moving forward, and Durango's future is uncertain. I don't know why. Like, come on, Jeep, Dodge, Stellantis, Chrysler, FCA, whoever you are, give us a new Durango and don't get rid of that Hellcat. Speaking of which, let's hop behind the steering wheel, see how this thing performs. Getting in and setting off in the Hellcat Durango is a good time to let you know there are actually 3 trims of Hellcat Durango. And that just kind of goes back to the fact that this was originally supposed to be a 1 model year only special event for the 2021 model year. Pricing back then started at just over $80,000, and now it starts at $96,000. So in 2 model years, we've seen $16,000 price increase. In fact, the most expensive one of these I was able to manufacture on the Build and Price website got to $111,000, mostly paying for paint colors and a few options like racing stripes and the interior package and whatnot in this one, but $111,000 for a big, powerful 3-row SUV, which there aren't many direct competitors to. I'm struggling to think of any true competitors that are gas-powered, because when it comes to the acceleration of this one, you're really just talking about EVs, maybe a Mercedes-Benz GLS, AMG, but it almost feels sacrilegious to compare a Dodge to a Mercedes-Benz AMG product. I don't know, just a little weird. I will let you know, I started off here in auto drive mode with eco engaged, just to talk about how this is to live with daily, because we have had this for a week around Christmas time, and for a big 3-row SUV, she quick, but even here in eco mode, she's quick, but I don't know if it's like the best to live with, because it is a track-tuned suspension, so you kind of bounce a lot over bumps that non-track tuned suspension vehicles would just kind of float over. You feel a lot of undulation with this one. There's a lot of this going on in this vehicle, and I have to attribute that to the track tuning of this and the fact that this really is meant to fight physics. There's only so much you can do to fight physics when you've got a 5,700 pound 3-row SUV and 710 horsepower carrying it down the road and potentially on a track. But I'm gonna go ahead and put this into sport mode. Again, that doesn't do anything to the sound of the exhaust. It's just loud all the time. And that is both a good thing and a bad thing. I know from driving this long distances down the road, getting at best 13 mpg, that the drone of the exhaust back behind you can wear on you just a little bit. But that's not why you're buying this. Maybe this is why you're buying this instead of the Charger or Challenger, because it's a big 3-row SUV that has a little more practicality baked into it, and it can tow. Got a trailer brake control up here after all. I don't know. Maybe you're buying this because it's the last of the Hellcat powered anythings that you can still purchase from Stellantis, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, whoever. This may just be your only option anymore. I don't know. But it does seem like a little bit of a penalty that there is no like electronic baffles back there that you can turn on and off the full loud exhaust. But when you want it to be loud, oh, it's glorious. You cannot hide when you are on the throttle in this, and when you are on the throttle hard, you can actually hear the whine. I call it the Banshee whine from that over 2-liter supercharger up underneath the hood. And this thing just gets loud from all ends. It makes a lot of noise and it is so much fun. I so much enjoy that it does that. It is just a blast. This thing does roll in the corners, and we're gonna go ahead and slap it over into manual, which I don't normally do because I generally let the engineers control all of that and modulate it. But this is a Torqueflite 8-speed automatic transmission, and you can blip the throttle back there when you want it, or you can hold gears for when you need it. But when you find the red line, like you find the red line, it doesn't slip back into auto mode for you. It won't let you downshift if the conditions are not met, but it will not upshift for you. Woo! It is a very quick shifting 8-speed, I will give it that. It stays in manual mode, and I just love blipping the throttle. It's so much fun. This thing is loud and raucous and will draw a crowd for sure. I'm gonna go ahead and put it back into automatic mode. Like, you cannot be secretive in this car when you're having fun. It draws a crowd and draws attention. It makes a lot of noise. There is just no hiding that. It's so much fun though, and we'll pull you out of a dig very quickly. The torque is almost instantaneous. Again, 710 horsepower, 645 pound-feet of torque, and I desperately want a closed road to really test this thing out. Unfortunately, you know, being on public roads as we are, there's only so much you can do in this vehicle, in this platform. Oh, but it is so much fun when you can really test it out. You can hear all the gravel from these sticky Pirelli P0 tires doing their best to hold and maintain traction as we are fighting physics yet again, trying to get this thing around corners. And I do find this grip in turns does make a little bit more sense. Now that we are at the end of the review and I've left my typical recording spot, we're here to this straight section. And I will say, all things considered, when all situations are met perfectly, this thing can really haul. But we're gonna go ahead and see from our reaction timers here exactly what it can do 0 to 60 on a 46-degree chilly day. Tires aren't exactly warmed up. I'm going uphill just a little bit, but we are in sport mode. We're gonna go ahead and put it in track. We're gonna push launch control. It says fully press on the brake, fully press on the throttle, and no! Oh my goodness! This rips through the gears and it absolutely moves. So let's see, 4.2 second 0 to 60. Again, all things considered, going uphill, chilly day, not warm tires, not prepped surface. This is telling me best that this vehicle, this particular vehicle, has ever gotten is 3.4 seconds 0 to 60, which is quite impressive. And Dodge does claim that this is still the quickest gas-powered 3-row vehicle that you can get. We're gonna try it one more time, slightly more level surface here. I am standing on the brake right now, mashing on the throttle, and go! Oh my gosh! This thing is violent as she moves. So yeah, that was 4 seconds. So shaved 0.2 of a second off right there on that one. But remember me saying this draws quite a crowd? I don't want to draw the wrong crowd as I'm driving this around, so I'm going to go ahead and continue on my merry way. If you want to see what Holly thinks of this, what Tucker thinks of this, how this fits our family in daily life, absolutely hit that subscribe button. Hit that subscribe button down below and ring the bell so you are notified every time a new video drops from us. You can find us on all social media platforms: Facebook, Instagram, X, TikTok, Threads, YouTube, everything at GT Garage Talk, or you can go to gtgaragetalk.com. But as for me, in perhaps one of the last, if not the last Hellcat powered anythings, until next time, gearheads, bye. AMG, but oh, it's fun. Oh. It's good stuff. Good stuff.